It's 1999, and where the reservation boundary invisibly bisected a stand of deep brush, Landro waited. That's the first line from this book, LaRose by Louise Erdrich, and this is the book that we're reading for the Runwright Reads Book Club in March. Landro is a Native American man, and when we meet him, he's out in a field hunting deer, but not just any deer. There's a buck that he's been tracking all summer, and now that it's finally harvest, he's ready to claim his prize. The deer has just crossed over into his neighbor's property, but Landro thinks nothing of shooting him there. Of course, he's going to share the meat with his neighbor Peter Ravitch because they have a barter system where they often exchange one good for another. But when Landro presses the trigger and the deer runs away, he realizes that, in fact, he's actually shot and killed his neighbor's son, Dusty. Landro is Ojibwe Indian, and his neighbor Peter, we assume, is Caucasian. They are neighbors. Their children often play together because their wives are half-sisters. But aside from all of that close proximity, the children go to different schools. And so we realize that the boundaries that were spoken about in the first line of this book are not just limited to land. Landro and his wife, Emmeline, are Catholic. So after the police investigation, they go to the priest to be prayed for. Then, because Landro is a recovering alcoholic, they drive to the liquor store because right now he's craving the blurriness that a drunken stupor could provide. But also, Landro is Indian. So afterwards, they make a big bonfire in their backyard and commune with the ancestral spirits to figure out what to do. Their youngest son, LaRose, is with them. And here the author explains that LaRose is actually a family name, usually given to the healers in the family. When Landro and Emmeline started having children, they resisted giving any of their children that name because they didn't want to saddle them with the responsibility that that name would bring. But when their youngest, LaRose, was born, they just immediately knew that he was LaRose in the family. In this story, we see Landro and his wife conflicted because of the contradictions of their multiple beliefs, all of which have failed them. Eventually, however, they decide to fall back on the old ways, and so they pack a suitcase and make their way to the neighbor's house. Peter, his wife Nola, and their daughter Maggie are there. They're still in mourning, and LaRose at 5 years old doesn't understand why his playmate Dusty isn't there to protect his toys and make sure that he doesn't play with them for longer than the allotted time. Peter's wife, Nola, is furious, and understandably so. She's amazed that Landro and Emmeline would even dare to come back onto her property after what they've done to her family, killing her baby. But that's until they tell her why they're there. They're giving up their son. LaRose is going to replace Dusty. That's the old way, they say. So LaRose is a Runwright Reads Book Club pick from March. This won the National Book Critics Circle Award in 2016, and the author is also a Pulitzer Prize nominee for her other novel, The Plague of Doves. I'm enjoying the little peek into Ojibwe tradition that this book provides. Ojibwe is not a tribe that I'm familiar with, and I'm intrigued to see how these Native Americans intermingled Christianity with their ancestral beliefs. There's a quote that appeared in the New York Times book review for this novel, and it says, "Throughout her work, Erdrich shows her Native American characters took from the white man what could be of use, while holding on to the parts of their heritage that would enable them to survive." I'll link the article in the description box, which I think will help sway your decision if you're still contemplating whether you want to read this book with the Runwright Reads Book Club in March. I hope you decide to read it, and I look forward to chatting with you about this one later on. We're planning to have the live show discussion on the last Thursday in March, which would be March 29th. So if you haven't already, please subscribe so you don't miss notifications about that one. And I look forward to chatting with you about this book and anything else that you're reading. So we'll talk in the comments, and until next time, happy reading. Bye. Runwright Reads Books. Books, 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 books. Is it snowing again? Thanks so much for watching this video all the way to the end. So just to recap, LaRose is our book club pick for March. In April, we're going to be reading Life of Pi by Yann Martel, as well as Vernon God Little by D.B.C. Pierre. I announced those in a video earlier this week on Pi Day. If you haven't already, I'll link that down below so you can check out that video as well. Thanks for watching, guys. Happy reading.